Number
80s retro music it is.
Bengals podcast.
Bengals
John,
podcast.
det är snackar shirin.
Yeah.
Dr. Hodgie, Dr. Smoji.
Yeah.
John, what do we have on the menu today?
Oh, it's another burrito. Got some chips as well.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
we like. That's what we
This,
like.
this boys and girls, is what we call
Brain food.
ASMR. We're pleasing your senses by having you listen to John chew on things.
Yeah. And Brian Anayo is back with his excellent reporting. And so look, guys.
Good song.
We have a very special show today.
Because we're no strangers to love.
And
You and I were born for love.
yes.
Yeah.
Baby, gonna pick
But
you up.
anyways. So yes, the Cincinnati Bengals, this is the first week.
Yeah.
This is a week you're going to remember forever because it's going to be the first step to the Bengals' first ever championship.
And what's weird is that while normally playing the Browns would not be seen as a challenging game at all, I don't think, for this Bengals team, which is really the top team in the AFC.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Browns, they have our number. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Joe Burrow is what, two losses out of the 3 times playing the Browns? Is that right?
I think it's 3 losses, but he won, or 4 losses. I don't know. 4 losses, but he won the last one. He won the last game.
Okay.
Most important one.
So
Most important
why?
one.
Okay, John. Let's go to John Sheeran for this question. Why do the Browns have Joe Burrow's number? What is it that the Browns got on this guy?
Well, I think the specific crime is doxing, right? Or, no, it's not doxing, but like they definitely stole his identity where they got all of his information, and that's where they got their number from. But I think with Cincinnati this year, it changed all the area codes. Like 513 has been the area code for Cincinnati for quite some time.
Yeah.
And now I think there's like a new area code. So I don't know if the Browns still have the Bengals number and therefore Joe Burrow's number, but
They
that
can't
was the
be.
case in the past, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The Browns.
So they're calling him, they're prank calling him middle of the night, waking him up.
They're sending
doesn't
him
get proper
nudes,
sleep.
unwanted nudes, because who wants to see Browns nudes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, but let us talk a little more intelligently. That is why we have you on the show. Yes. John, look. The Browns, they still have Myles Garrett, but they don't have Denzel Ward. Those are probably
got a
the 2
number.
guys.
Number
It doesn't
95.
matter.
Well, he's got number 2.
He's got number 2. He's got.
Yeah. So the thing is,
Speaking of number 2, John, you might want to cool it. This is going to be a 20-minute gig.
We are playing the Browns.
yeah,
That's right.
let's get in the spirit. John, here's the thing. Look, how does Myles Garrett match up with Orlando Brown Jr.? Is that going to be, because that was a problem. Look, Jonah Williams, very
This is
good
the test.
tackle.
This
but
is
that
the
was
test
that
of
was
his-
I think he half of the sacks he ever gave up were against Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
every man will have his virility tested once, and this game is the test of Orlando Brown's virility.
John, can we talk
It's
about
very
the
interesting.
virginity?
No, well, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the fact that Dadio usually exaggerates, and he's just a jolly man full of hyperboles. And I don't think he's actually exaggerating with the amount of sacks that Jonah Williams has given up to Myles Garrett in his career relative to how many sacks he's given up to other edge rushers. The thing with Myles Garrett is that for my money, he's the best edge rusher in the NFL. I don't think there's a single player with his combination of speed, strength, explosiveness, flexibility, and hand usage all rolled up into one 6'4", 275-pound alien of a man. Unfortunately for the Bengals, though, he moves around a lot, and that's not going to change, right? So Jonah Williams is now at right tackle, and it would not surprise me if on 3rd and long they move Myles Garrett to left edge to face off against Jonah Williams. He also plays inside too, so he's going to go up against Alex Kapp and Cordell Wilson a handful of times in this game too. Yes, for the most part, he will be going up against Orlando Brown, and I still don't really see that as an advantage for the Bengals necessarily. Orlando Brown is obviously a lot bigger than Jonah Williams, but again, there's nothing that Myles Garrett can't necessarily do. He can win around the edge, and he can win with speed and timing off the snap, especially at home, and that's where Orlando Brown struggles the most as a pass protector. So even with Orlando Brown, who is objectively like a top 10 left tackle, Myles Garrett's a top 1 edge rusher. This is a mismatch regardless of who you have at left tackle, unless it's like Trent Williams or Orlando Pace. So there's going to be issues protecting against him, and he's probably going to get into the backfield uncontested 1 or 2 times. It's just a matter of, can you avoid turning those plays into disasters? No strip sacks, no sacks 10 yards back in the line of scrimmage, especially no interceptions. It's going to be a lot up to Joe Burrow to manage it.
And Joe Burrow has done a great job of that, but maybe he's been razzled and dazzled a bit in these games because, hey, offensive line has never been our strength. And for those Bengals fans out there that are expecting miracles this year, I don't think that you should. Offensive line is much more than one great player. Orlando Brown is great. Yeah. We don't really know how this unit is going to work together, John. And forgive me for speaking with his on your specialty here, but I think Burrow is going to have to be as much of the ballerina.
Hold on, let's get something. Let us get something. Hold on. Tony Gross came out, and this guy is very close to the Cleveland Browns players, and he said the Browns players are laughing at Joe Burrow. They say he's a joke. We are not intimidated by him.
Right.
He is nothing.
That's a lie.
And they said, we own him, and we are going to, they guarantee the win.
Yeah, well, that's a lie. That's a lie if they said they're not intimidated. Everybody's intimidated by Joe Burrow.
But here's the thing, John. Do you remember when Wink Martingale, or remember when he came out and he said, what did he say? Joe Burrow is not that special or something. And Joe Burrow came out and threw 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, or whatever. Joe Burrow has a lot of pride.
He does.
He's humble in how he carries himself. But
Not
inside, I mean, that man is not just competitive. He's not just competitive like, I want to win. He is the Jordan like, I want to prove to you that I'm superior to you. I want to step on your throat.
Yeah.
And I want you to go back crying to your family.
Yeah.
And, seek help after this game.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's another psychological factor at play here, okay, which is that Deshaun Watson has more to prove in this game than Joe Burrow. And so this really puts things on Deshaun to show us what he has. And I know I might be in the minority. I think Deshaun Watson has a lot. I think he is. He's a great quarterback. Now, you might
I'm going to counter with the fact that Deshaun Watson has $250 million guaranteed. Joe Burrow does not have a contract still. And so Deshaun Watson, he could be the worst quarterback in the league in this game, and nothing is happening to that man. He's going nowhere.
So what do you mean now?
He has nothing to prove. He doesn't have to worry about proving anything to anybody.
No, that's not how athletes think, Dadio. Athletes are very highly affected by word of mouth and what they see in the press, much more than they are by contracts. And so Deshaun Watson, people have always wondered if he's worth that money. And if the Browns made a mistake taking such a risk, not just by the way a financial risk, but really a brand risk on Deshaun Watson.
Well,
I tell you what, I'm calling it today. That risk is going to pay off. Deshaun Watson is a great quarterback. Watch out for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
He's always been good down the field.
Well,
the man has really nothing less than... Now, you guys are thinking I'm crazy, but I don't even see him having much less as Patrick Mahomes. I don't think if you put him on the Kansas City Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs would be that much worse of a team. And I'm a quarterback coach.
It's interesting.
We haven't seen that since 2020, though. Like, we don't know what he is now.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's interesting because 2020 is exactly when we had this whole conspiracy, if you will. We had this whole change in our society, and then we had these...
But that wasn't a conspiracy. Like millions of people died.
We had these genetic mutations being injected into us, and
that's
nobody looks the same. Nobody's playing at the level they were back then.
No, these were not microchips.
Some are better. Look, so it's like anything with mutants. Sometimes mutations work to your advantage. Sometimes they're your disadvantage.
Look, I took every vaccine that was available, and nothing happened to me other than losing all of my body hair and growing a second belly button. But other than that, the vaccines have protected me. Well, I've gotten COVID 4 times, but I never, died.
Yeah. We can see
I almost did,
so,
but I didn't really die.
So look, we're talking a lot about quarterbacks. We mentioned Mahomes. We mentioned Deshaun Watson. We mentioned Joe Burrow. So I want to look at these the tier maker official QB rankings. And these are Joe Burrow, they have as the worst quarterback in the league. They have at the bottom.
No, that's
of the
not what
entire
that
list.
means. No.
And the best quarterbacks, if you look at the top, what do you have? You have Derek Carr. Come on.
No, that's not what
John
this chart
Tannehill?
means. This chart is about who might be a conservative and right-leaning in the quarterback spectrum. Now, I don't know what the Q means. Was that QAnon? Is that what they mean by that, John?
Apparently.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess Rogers, but Rogers is not QAnon.
I think they mean he loves the alternative kind of conspiracy theories.
Whatever. And so anyways, the MAGA guys, they're saying these are the conservative guys. I mean, some of those might be true. Brady, yeah, sure. But I don't think all of them are true. I guess Carr is actually an evangelical. And then
the disrespect to Matty Ice here. Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I don't get that.
He's at the bottom. He's not where they placed him here. That's ridiculous.
Is he still in
I
the
don't
league,
get
John?
that.
No. I don't even know why he's on here in the first place.
Yeah. Well, these need to be updated.
I can believe some of these. I would some of these on here. But I think it's funny that they put Burrow as a socialist. I mean, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's definitely he's definitely spreading the wealth.
Yeah, he's for the people, of the people, by the people. Yeah. In Burrow we trust. That's the Cincinnati motto.
Yeah. Well, John.
I used to have, Brian and I, we used to have a bassist named Fabrice, but it was F''Breeze. He smelled wonderful.
So, John, here's what we have going on. Yeah.
On the Browns, Dadio, be honest. You always overdo it with the calls. You think it's going to be a walk in the park for the Cincinnati Bengals against the Browns?
I think so, yeah.
You think they're going to win by many, many points?
I think so. I think they win by... Well, it's on the road. I'll say they win. I'm going to say they're going to win by 13 points, John.
No.
What does that mean, though?
That means that if you take whatever the Bengals total is and the Browns, I feel the Bengals are going to get close to 2 touchdowns.
No. You're definitely smarter than that. This has a deeper meaning. I'm waiting to hear what it is.
Now I'm more confused.
Because sometimes you predict the Bengals get flushed down, they go home disappointed, or they go home, so like someone stole their lunch money, and it's all these weird analogies, and they end up in your eyes, in your prediction, winning the game. Yeah. So I want to know, what does winning by 13 points actually mean? Because I don't think it's what you think it means.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in the polls that are going to come out for the elections, anybody who wanted to vote Bengals, the Bengals are going to be ahead 13 points in the poll. But they're going to beat the Browns by about, 30 points.
There you
John,
go.
What do you think?
I think it's a 1 point. I think it's going to be a 1 point game. I think these games are always close, especially when you have both teams who I think are healthy, who it's a fresh start, right? It's a new year. Sometimes these games have kind of gotten out of control. It's been snowballing almost to the point where the Browns kind of get ahead and they just take over the game. And that's been a theme in the past couple of years. But I think week 1, wacky things happen all the time. And there could be wacky things happening on both sides of the ball here. And I think that will net into what ends up being a 1 point game. I think it's going to be a 1 point victory for the Bengals. The last time the Bengals opened at Cleveland, Bruce Gradkowski, of all people, finished that game at quarterback. It was Andy Dalton and A.J. Green's debut, and Bruce Gradkowski threw a game-winning touchdown to A.J. Green in the fourth quarter. It was A.J. Green's only catch of the game, if I remember correctly, and it was a game winner against the Cleveland Browns. They haven't been back up there in Cleveland for week 1 in 12 years. I don't think it's going to happen exactly like that, but I think the Browns are going to play decent. I think Nick Chubb's going to have a good game. I think the Bengals offense is going to be decent. It's not going to be fully there. I think Burrow's going to be a little rusty just because the timing's off a little bit for having those lack of reps. But I think it's going to be close. I think it comes down to maybe an Evan McPherson game-winning kick, 21-20.
Interesting. Yeah. Now, I know that, John, you have your ear on the pulse of the Cincinnati Bengals. Let me ask you a question. Does Burrow get the contract before the Browns game, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So we should expect this contract to be announced imminently.
Not imminently. If we're recording it Thursday evening at 7:34 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
I think this could take up to Saturday night. I think it could end up taking up to right before they hop on the plane or the bus or however they're getting to Cleveland. It's only a 3.5 hour drive.
Okay.
I think it'll take up all that time. Right now, it's just Burrow saying, hey, I want to sign this. I want to be here for my career. We all know this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I want my concessions to be met. I want assurances that you're going to be able to build the team that I want around me, whether that is saving enough cash and money or cap space, whatever, to sign guys like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, whatever the case may be. He's holding out for as long as he can to put pressure on the Bengals to basically cave in and say, yes, we will sign you with this deal, and we will confirm that we will build this team around you. We will keep it competitive. That is what he's kind of holding out for, those assurances, concessions, whatever you want to call it. Whether or not they actually follow through for that, that's a question for time. But I do see this deal getting done, and he will be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
In NFL history.
Well, yeah, that too.
And John, what do you guess the hang-up is? I mean, why the last minute?
I just told you.
I don't get. All those things? I mean, they've known all these things since the beginning of summer. I don't understand.
Yeah, what are the chances they figured out last minute, John?
Yeah, why?
No, it's not. It's not like these are unknown things, right? Like the money's there. Like the deal is essentially like the deal is
done.
Pretty much like set. Okay. It's just a matter. It's just a matter of like they have an agreement on how much he should get paid. It could just be like, hey, I want to make sure that you guys actually sign T. Higgins and offer him what he wants or whatever.
So
and it could just be, yeah, what?
If they don't get it done, does his calf injury come back? Is it going to flare up?
No, he's going to play.
No, you have to understand, in contract negotiations, they ravage a quarterback's calf muscles. Yeah. So that's what I'm worried about. I think the contract is signed. I think it's done. I think that there is a psychological reason they want to announce it at a certain time. They're sitting on the contract and they're kind of playing mind games with people. I think that maybe they want at least a little bit of doubt in the Browns' mind that maybe that he's going to go in there without a contract. You know, that kind of thing. I think this is a psychological thing. I can't imagine what happens in these next 2 days that couldn't have happened in the past few months. But
deadlines spur action, they spur decisions. True. And the Bengals know at this point they don't have any leverage, right? If they go into week 1 and Burrow is playing off of a 95% calf at this point without a contract, they're going to look bad. Now, do they care about looking bad? Probably not. This is the Brown family. But they realize that their leverage is basically exhausted up until the game actually happens. So I think that's why that deadline is going to spur action.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I really hope that we do get a contract. As you said, before the weekend or during the weekend. I'd love to watch the highest paid quarterback in the NFL beat the Browns. I got to be honest with you guys. My prediction, though, is that the Bengals will not win this game. They, if you remember the Pittsburgh game that started last year, this is not a team that comes in still to this day. This is not a team that comes in fully prepared. It's a young team, and somehow it's a team that just like Joe Burrow's contract is a very last-minute kind of thing. We still always do better in the second half. We do better in the second half of the season as well, not just second half of games. And I think that unfortunately I cannot call it a win. I think it's going to be a close loss, 3 points, something like that. And
that's very strange. I don't think the Browns, John, I don't think they have it together. Is John there? No.
Well, it looks like his mouth got. He was doing one of those like sour little candies.
Yeah.
And his face got frozen in a sour swirl of deliciousness. Because that can happen with the sweet and sour, with the sour candies when they're super sour.
Yeah.
The Willy Wonka ones. Yeah.
I love those. But
me too.
So yeah. Okay. Well, don't forget to subscribe.
Don't forget it.
Turn on notifications.
The notifications.
Like, tell a friend. Go to patreon.com/dhsports.
Yes.
Follow John's articles at a2zsports.com/Cincinnati.
And by the way, if anyone has any recommendations for what T. Higgins should name his jellyfish, I am a close personal friend of his, and we were talking about it the other day. Put it in the chat. I'll pass along your name. Put it in the YouTube comments. I will pass along the name you suggest for his jellyfish. I will pass it on to him.
Yeah. Well, if anybody wants to see John Sheehan one more time, he's back.
He's back. And we know he's alive because we can hear the crunch. That's a really, yeah. It's like, in the old days, they used to put a mirror up to someone's nose. But with John, it's like,
I wish you guys could taste how good this is.
what
It's
is
insane.
it? Is it vegan?
Wait.
What is it, John?
They sound good.
Tortilla? Dorito?
All right.
Pringle?
I think you fry the tortilla and make it chips. Yeah.
So we will see you next time. So long, sweetie.
Sweetie.
Bye.
Bye.